I think meeting is now streaming live in YouTube. So I think no more personal talks.
కింద ఉంటుందా సిగ్నల్?
బాలాజీ ఆ వీడియో ఐకాన్ కనబడుతుంది చూడండి.
Okay. Now we are able to see you, sir.
Now I am just shifting.
Okay.
Shifting the place for strength of the signal.
Okay, right.
That's better, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Now we are able to see your visuals also, which are moving. Sir, you need to keep your camera a little down, sir.
Good morning, sir. Register, sir.
Yeah, that's fine, sir.
Okay, fine, Balaji.
Madam, good morning, madam. Good morning. We are. I'm ready.
Good morning, sir. One
Sir,
second.
good morning, sir.
Then sir could join here, sir. Let me unmute sir also.
Okay, right.
Sir, good morning, Register, sir.
Good morning, professor. Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Very good morning, sir. Register, sir.
Good
Happy
morning,
to
professor.
see you actively participating again.
Good morning, professor. Good morning, Ramesh. Well, nice, very nice, Ramesh.
Sir, today's speaker is my classmate, sir, Dr. P.N. Prasad.
Achha, okay, nice, very nice. Very
He
nice.
is presently Joint Drug Control of India.
India, nice. Yeah, I have seen his. That today's is our.
Sir, above all, we are proud to have him as our alumni. That is more important now.
Yes. You are right. So it is the institute where he got studied. Studies and all things he has pursued, and really great. It is a proud moment for us to invite our alumni for our programs. Really.
A very good morning, all.
Sir,
Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Professor.
Yeah,
Good morning.
Yeah, very good morning, Professor Manjur.
Very good morning, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, we are going to start the. Sir,
Please go ahead.
Yeah, please.
డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకున్నారా?
చేసుకున్నాను sir. నేను డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకున్నాను. I am ready with it.
ఓకే. యా.
Okay, no problem. We'll start the program, sir. అందరు join అయ్యారు. Okay. నువ్వు కూడా you go for the introduction for a few minutes. We'll start. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to Honorable Rector, sir, JN2H, and Registrar, sir, Mansoor Hussain, sir, Director Krishnamon, sir, and our alumni and Joint Director, Dr. P.B.N. Prasad, sir, and all participants. Good morning to everyone. And all participants who may not able to join here, you can live. It is already the webinar is on the live. You can click the live webinar link, and you can go through our webinar. Okay, all good morning.
Online meeting.
Today we are going to start a small webinar because there is due to pandemic we have been facing a lot of problems. For the students, they are kind of depressed, and they were having some kind of needed some kind of moral to boost them. So we have facing a lot of challenges. So today we have invited Dr. P.B.N. Prasad, sir. He is going to speak on challenges for pharmacy profession in current situation and for job opportunities. Because pharmacy is the field which we do not have any problem even during the pandemic. So far during this pandemic also, a lot of companies we called us for the recruitment and also placements. And so far we have conducted interviews online by the Aravindo, and we have iGent, we have conducted New Height and Dr. Reddy's and GVK also. Like every biotech company, they are hiring them, and they're giving a good package also. So today we have arranged a webinar to address the challenges during this pandemic and what are the job opportunities. So I welcome everyone for this webinar, and we will enjoy this webinar and go through. Any problems are there, please put it in a chat box, and our speaker will be answering them. Sir Krishnamon sir, please welcome the guest and have a brief address.
Good morning to all of you. On behalf of Center for Pharmaceutical Sciences, Institute of Science and Technology, I welcome all the delegates and guests and speaker to the one-day webinar on challenges for pharmacy profession in current situation and scope for job opportunities. I welcome our Honorable Rector Govardhan Garu. I welcome Dr. Manjur Hussain sir, Registrar J&H, and I welcome today's speaker and alumni of JNTU, Dr. P. Balaji Narsingh Prasad, Joint Drug Controller of India. I welcome all the JNTU affiliated college principals, faculty, and students, scholars to the one-day seminar, webinar on the challenges for pharmacy profession. I welcome the other participants also from other states who have registered for this one-day webinar. I wish all the participants actively participate. And during this pandemic situation, there are so many pharma professions and other people are suffering without jobs, and there are many problems for the outgoing students also. And now so many students are coming out from B Farm and M Farm, and they can search for their job. I hope that today's lecture by Dr. P. Balaji Narsingh Prasad will address some of the problems in during this pandemic situation, how to overcome the problems. And I wish all the participants, and I wish this one day same webinar on the challenges for pharmacy profession in current situation and scope for job opportunity will be a success. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request Register Sir, Mansoor Hussain sir, address the gathering. Sir, briefly for this webinar, actually we released the brochure last week, like 4 or 5 days ago, and about 1200 participants had registered, sir. Yesterday we have mailed all 1200 with a link, and we have created the YouTube link also. So whoever cannot join our Zoom meeting because it's already full, 100 of them, all other can watch in the live YouTube. So now I'm sorry, sir. I request Mansoor Hussain sir to address few minutes.
Good morning to all of you. So respected today's esteemed speaker, Dr. P.B.N. Prasad, Joint Drug Controller, India, and our Vice Chancellor, Mr. Jayesh Ranjan IAS, our Rector, Professor A. Govardhan, and Dr. G. Krishnamohan, Director, IST, and the Program Coordinator, Dr. M. Sunita Reddy, and all other entire team from the IST, and respected participants from different organizations and colleges. I'm very happy to see that CPS Webinar Series 3, Madam is started this activity for the past, I think in 1 month. I think she is now started the third webinar. And the topic selected for this webinar, the challenges for the pharmacy professionals in current situation and scope for the job opportunities. Yes, it is the one area required to be addressed for our younger generation, that what are the opportunities they will be having, what mindset they have to have during this pandemic situation. So you have selected a right person who is having a current information because of his professional and his attachment to his organization. I think he is the right person to give the message to the younger generation about this present situation and this pharmacy challenges what they are facing. As you have seen, this pandemic has taken every one of us to change our mindset and think in a different way. See, in academics, we even though that so many few months, last 4 or 5 months, we were almost away from our work, but still the technology we are using, and we are making our students, we are making our faculty and our friends to be active, and indirectly, that is on virtual basis, and we are connecting them, and we are trying to motivate our people to have the latest information in the field of our expertise. So really, that IST has selected a right topic for our students as well as the affiliated colleges. I think many people, as Madam said, nearly more than 1,200 participants are registered. It's a very good number. Online, you have registered for this a big number, and these 1,200 people are going to get the benefit from this particular program. I wish you all the best, and I request all the participants to take it very serious and see that the current information on this particular topic you will be getting. So this is the platform. I think every one of you make use of it, and see that your professional things will be benefiting, and you'll be updating your knowledge. With these few words, I thank my Vice Chancellor and Rector and Professor, Director and Coordinator for making this program. And I think this program will going to give the JNTU another online activity in a series of our activities to keep our students active in this field. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Actually, on 28th of this month also, we are conducting one more webinar, sir, where Ankram Labs is giving on HPTLC, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. Now, good morning, sir. Dr. Rector, sir. Invite you to speak few words for this webinar.
Yeah, very good morning to you all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. All the distinguished guests of the program, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sri Jayesh Ranjan IAS Garu, who is a source of inspiration and motivation for us to organize different kinds of programs in the university, and my esteemed colleague Professor Manjur Hussain from University Registrar, and our alumnus, and also proud to see as the Joint Drugs Controller Dr. PBN Prasad Garu, Director IST Professor Krishna Mohan Garu, and the coordinator of this program, Dr. Sunita Reddy Garu, other distinguished guests of the program, distinguished invitees, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to you all. It's indeed a wonderful opportunity for us to interact with the important stakeholders to see that so we not only impart the quality education to our students, but also we will take care of their entire life cycle, including the job prospects and the career guidance, and also how to groom them to see that they get the best opportunities once they complete their courses from the academic institutions. Wonderful theme has been taken up, and as you see, the drugs usage is increasing from time to time in various domains and in the society. But at the same time, you also see the identity of the pharmacist. Sometimes you also find some kind of lack of cohesiveness among other stakeholders, because you have the entire ecosystem which is to be operated in a very good cohesiveness and in harmony. I'm sure that that is one of the challenges, and we can discuss and deliberate in those lines. And sometimes you also see the specialized pharmacists, which is the need of the hour, and sometimes you also need the patient-centered multidisciplinary work knowledge is also equally important. From that perspective, I am sure this workshop will definitely help all the delegates and also the important people who are attending this program to have some kind of direction in those lines. So if you look at the some of the other challenges also, sometimes female pharmacists may also face some kind of challenges in the workplace, and those can also be addressed in those lines. And since we have India is one of the major hubs from the perspective of the pharma industry, and even Hyderabad is also particularly known for pharma industry. You have many industries like Hetero Drugs, Dr. Reddy Labs, Arabindo, and like that. There are a number of pharmacy and drug related companies that you find here. So from that perspective, there is a lot of potential from the job point of view. And our university is also taking up number of initiatives to see that skill set is developed among the all the students, not only technical, but we are also equally concentrating on the pharmacy and allied courses which are being imparted from IST. And there is as you already know that pharmacy has also got different like other skill sector councils. There is also pharmacy related skill sector council. We are also collaborating with them to see that our students get the knowledge in those lines. Besides the technical stuff, what are the industrial trends and perceptions that we have, so that we can train our students in those lines. And we are also equally trying for the better internships and projects also. I think these things would definitely help all our students to groom themselves before they leave the academic institution. They themselves get groomed with the support and guidance of our faculty members. I'm sure all the speakers and also the guests we have come here will definitely show some kind of guidance, and also the deliberations will have some kind of recommendations with which we would be able to proceed in the positive direction. So with these few remarks, I once again compliment and my deep sense of accolades to entire IST team. We have been doing wonderful job, and they have been continuously organizing a number of webinars, workshops to see that a lot of learning happens through online mode. I once again thank the guest of honor also, who has come and for gracing the occasion and sparing his valuable time. I wish you all the best. I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words, sir. Sir, PBN Prasad, sir, I request you to speak couple of minutes. Then we'll conclude our inauguration. Then we'll start our webinar, sir. Before I request to speak Dr. Prasad, sir, Fazal, can you introduce the speaker?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good morning, one and all. It's my privilege and honor to introduce today's speaker, Dr. PBN Prasad Garu. Dr. PBN Prasad Garu, he has completed his Bachelor of Pharmacy from University College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Kakatiya University. He did his Masters in Pharmacy from LM College of Pharmacy, Gujarat University. He did his PhD in Pharmaceutical Sciences from JNU Hyderabad. His current designation is a Joint Drugs Controller India, CDSCO. He has a rich experience of 3 decades in regulatory field. He started his career from testing of materials, analysis, method development, and developing of monographs for Indian Pharmacopoeia. Later on, he acted as Drugs Inspector in CDSCO, as Deputy Drugs Controller of India. Later on, he acted as he headed CDSCO South Zone, Chennai, Hyderabad Zone, West Zone, Mumbai. He is actively involved in monitoring and supervising investigations, inspections, and recommendations for approval of licenses for blood and blood-related products. He is also involved in the monitoring of imports and exports and test licenses of various drug products. His current responsibility as JDCI in approval process of clinical trials for global clinical trial applications. He is involved in monitoring drug safety divisions and compensations. He is a member of various technical and also subcommittees of DCC. He has huge publications in both international and national scientific journals. He has also conducted inspections in various manufacturing units in not only in India, but also in abroad, like countries like China, Iran, and Japan. He has also conducted and attended many training programs, both nationally and internationally. He is an expert faculty member and a resource person for various training workshops, and he is also a member of various national and international associations. So it is a privilege to have you here, sir. So we are thankful for you so that you allotted some time to us. We're all eagerly waiting for your address. So the stage is yours, sir.
Thank you, Fazal. Sir, Prasad sir, speak for few minutes, then we conclude our inaugural session, then we'll proceed with our webinar, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Vice Chancellor Sri Jayesh Ranjan Garu, Dr. Govardhan Rector Garu, JNTUH, Dr. Manzoor Hussain, Registrar JNTUH, Dr. G. Krishna Mohan Garu, Director Institute of Science and Technology, JNTUH, Dr. Sunita Reddy Garu, expert academicians, faculty members of University of JNTU Hyderabad, and a lot of academicians from different pharmacy colleges all over the country, including the Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, students, research scholars. A very good morning to all of you. Thanks for the opportunity given to me to share my views, my experiences, my exposure, both in the regulatory and the industry, including the clinical research. So today, I'll just give a briefing, not just on the challenges of a pharmacy profession, especially not in terms of the academic pursuit level, because you're all academicians, you know very well about all these issues, academic and research. So I'll be primarily focusing on the regulatory field, which is associated with both the pharmaceutical industry and the clinical research primarily. So with these few words, I will hand over the chair to Dr. Sunita Reddy Garu, and then later I'll come with sharing my views and the PowerPoint. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And now I request Dr. Ramesh to give a thank you note for all inaugural session.
It gives me immense pleasure to formally propose the online vote of thanks. Basically, I would like to thank the major guests of today's function, Rector Dr. A. Govardhan sir. Thank you so much for your valuable time and excellent oration about insisting on the pharmacy role. And secondly, I would like to thank Registrar sir, Manzoor Hussain sir, for always taking active part and encouraging our JNTU alumni. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your valuable time. And I would also like to thank our director, sir, Dr. G. Krishna Mohan, sir, who is a guru for all of us, including the present speaker for his PhD. And I think the most important bridegroom of this function, Dr. Balaji Prasad sir, who has spared his valuable time despite having his busy schedule, which is the current need of the hour. And I wish sir to focus on also a line on the current status of our drug outcome on COVID, sir, because we all are eagerly waiting, because you are the one who knows more about the current status. So please also put a word on that, sir. And finally, I would like to thank the young and energetic madam who always keeps on rolling the ball and makes us on our toe. Thank you so much, Sunita Reddy madam, for always making this happen. I think without your support, we cannot take this alumni association stronger. Thank you so much. And my special thanks to all my colleagues, Purushottam, Rajesh Surdat, Navneet, who all are principals of the associated colleges of JNTU and the neighboring colleges. And similarly, the thank you all for the delegates for sparing your valuable time. And I can promise you that Prasad sir gives the best orations, which we have already tasted it earlier. So I wish you all to relish the flavor of his speech. Thank you all, and hand it over to Sunita ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramesh, for those kind words. Thank you, Rector sir. Thank you, Register sir, for joining us this morning. I heartily thank you for joining this webinar, sir. Then we
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, our today's speaker, Professor Dr. Prasad and Dr. Ramesh, and all the entire team. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for
sir.
sharing your
Yeah, thank you all. With your permission, we'll take leave. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, now I'll share my PPT, sir, your PPT in a minute.
Madam, I think let Krishna Mohan sir speak for a few minutes before we go ahead of
Okay.
sir's.
Sir, go ahead, sir.
Okay. I thank my classmate, especially PB Prasad, for sparing his valuable time. And I wish all the participants and especially the students, young generation who are going to listen. Nearly, Madam just now told about 1,200 students, delegates registered for this. And with your talk, it will be a very good information to the students, and I hope this will be a good talk given by you, and especially during this pandemic time, the students are especially those who are about to complete and those who have complete are facing a lot of problems, and I hope your talk will be a very good information to them, and especially for the job opportunities. And what is the current situation of the pharmacy profession also? Because you may be giving in your lecture very good information, and I thank and especially I congratulate my colleague Sunita Reddy madam and my staff for organizing the talk, even though we are unable to assemble physically, and we are able to conduct online virtual webinars regularly. And I wish this webinar will be a success. Thank you for all sparing your time. Madam, we can continue.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I thought you were going to stay for a while, so
I will
that's
say, okay, madam.
okay.
Because
Okay,
only
sir.
thing is, tomorrow an exam is there. I will
Okay.
stay for some time and then.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, PBN's process, sir.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
screen is all yours, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Krishna Mohan Garu, Dr. Ramesh Garu, Dr. Sunita Reddy Garu, for all the inspiring words. And yes, definitely, the job which you have given to me, in a current situation, that's we call it as in a pandemic situation, what's the challenges of the profession of the pharmacy, and what's the scope for job opportunities, or how to retain the present job also is a challenging, and with all the pay cuts, sometimes very apprehensive about the situation of the jobs, especially in the private sector, and how do we sustain it, and how do we get new jobs for the young graduates and postgraduates at the entry points. Well, I just want to say that you might be seeing a lot of slump in the growth and the GDP, etc. In the current situation of the country, where globally, including India, there is nothing exclusive, that there is a serious economic crisis. Still, this is one area where we could really cope up, is the healthcare sector. It is across the globe. It grows at an exponential rate, and the rate of growth of the pharmaceutical sector is at the rate of the growth of pharmaceutical sector is almost concomitant to the rate of growth of the healthcare sector. Can I ask for the next slide, please? Can you just move the next slide, ma'am? Yeah, please.
Shall I still move, sir?
Yeah, please, please. Then go ahead for the first slide. Yeah. Next.
This one, sir?
The next one.
We are not getting it, madam.
Excuse me?
We're not getting it.
You are not getting the slide, sir?
Yeah.
Yes. Only first slide is seen.
First slide is visible. The next one is not visible.
Oh, 1 second, sir. Let me share again, okay, sir? One
Please.
second.
Yeah, please.
So I'll continue. See, the National Health Policy 2017 ensures a robust healthcare sector where various stakeholders, including the pharmacist, has a very important role in ensuring antimicrobial resistance, effective pharmacovigilance.
Sir, are you able to see now, sir?
No, madam, no. Only
No,
first
not
slide
visible.
was-
The next slide.
Why? 1 second, sir. 1 second. Hold
Yeah.
on. Can you do this, sir, for me?
Yeah, we got it, man.
Yes, yes.
We should enlarge it. Yeah, got it.
The first slide.
Got it, man.
Yeah, the next slide. Yeah, thank you. Well, the healthcare sector across the globe is growing at an exponential rate, and the rate of growth of the pharmaceutical sector is concomitant to the rate of growth of the healthcare sector. You know, this is what the expert says. The National Health Policy of Government of India 2017 ensures the robust healthcare sector wherein various stakeholders, including the pharmacists, have a very important role in ensuring antimicrobial resistance, effective pharmacovigilance, facilitating medical device regulations, and a robust regulatory framework and standards for the medicines and devices. The next one. Yes. In the current scenario, recently, Government of India has started digitalization of health records in the year 2020 under the National Digital Health Mission by the National Health Authority, where all the facilities, including the sourcing, supply, and storage of medicines and distribution, is one of the important roles of the pharmacist, with the digitalization of patients' health records as the central theme of this mission. Next. Yes, as you all know, India's exports of pharmaceuticals from April 2019 to March 2020, the last financial year, has been to a tune of 20.58 billion US dollars, with a growth of almost 7.57%. Around 55% of Indian exports are to highly regulated markets like North America and Europe. USA is the largest exporting partner of India by country. 8 of top 20 global generic companies are from India. Year after year, Indian companies have been bagging more than 30% of the market authorization or the approvals from US FDA of ANDs by US FDA from 2016. India shares about almost 50% of African generic market of $6,000 million. For financial year 2020, India has exported to 202 countries, and 70% of the WHO's vaccine requirement or essential immunization schedule are sourced from India. The next. Next slide, please. It's quite heartening to note that the pharma sector is outperforming most of the sectors in achieving consistently high growth. In India is now among the top 5 pharmaceutical emerging markets in the world, especially the generic market. India has emerged as the world's third largest producer of drugs in terms of volume. Next slide, please. Yes. Now coming to the present pandemic situation, knowing the background of how India's position in the world market in terms of vaccines, in terms of pharmaceuticals, where do we stand in terms of the exports or the domestic market? The present scenario in the COVID pandemic, the challenges faced by the Indian pharma companies. Manufacturing units or warehouses were not working at full utilization due to non-availability of the staff. The non-availability or the disrupted supply of raw materials and packing materials. Absence of seamless internet data connectivity with staff is creating issues in day-to-day work. Marketing staff facing issues in generating sales as they're unable to conduct in-person sales calls as they used to be in the pre-COVID scenario. The companies that have operations across the globe are facing issues with regard to their operations and staff in those locations. Every country has divided its own policies and guidelines. As with all industries, implementing effective and robust cybersecurity measures is a big challenge in the work from home scenarios. Supply disruptions have been eased out now, but still there are a few difficulties regarding availability and movement of labor. While most of the pharma companies have resumed operations, they have been running at reduced capacities due to these challenges. Okay, next please. The radical transitions in workplace cultures and patterns. With the nationwide lockdown, the pharma units in India experienced low attendance. Am I audible, please?
Yes, sir. You are audible,
Yeah.
sir.
With the nationwide lockdown, pharma units in India experienced low attendance and engagement of the workforce, resulting in decreased productivity. On the other hand, employees worried about their health, safety, and jobs. Over the course of several weeks, the ongoing crisis has forced many companies to change their ways of the past. The next slide, please. With the social distancing norms and work from home instructions, employees need to learn how to work out the traditional office settings. In a post-COVID scenario, let's hope, we'll witness a transition working pattern and workplace culture. Well, most of us will be better equipped to work remotely. Some of will have to cope with the restricted workforce and workplace restrictions. Across the roles and nature of work, the workmen will have to go through the behavioral change and be receptive to changes, keeping in mind the health and safety measures. Next slide, please. The virus outbreak has highlighted the role of epidemiological data, good public health structures, and R&D. There are learnings from every pandemic, and COVID-19 is no exception. There is an undisputed need for more resilient healthcare infrastructure, as well as stronger surveillance, the data collection systems, and the early warning systems. Contemporary R&D systems for cutting-edge research and speedy analysis using the latest data science tools coupled with frugal innovation is key for a country like India. Next slide, please. Building and sustaining these strategies will require serious and focused government intent and budgets. There is a need to reevaluate the existing structures and create a more responsive structure with improved infrastructure, capacity, and skills. There is a need to make research and surveillance institutions more contemporary and undertake the gap-filling areas in the activities. Collaboration with global environment and non-governmental institutions needs to be stepped up to manage pandemic preparedness and respond to pool resources and knowledge sharing, an area where India can contribute with its dynamic and exuberant innovation climate. India has demonstrated quick decision-making as well as innovation in almost every area during this pandemic. This is powered through an ecosystem, the openness of government, Well, I just want to highlight this. This was powered through an ecosystem openness of the Government of India, the Honorable Prime Minister, the Niti Aayog, and other Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Ministry of Pharmaceuticals, and many other agencies has powered through an ecosystem openness of government and spontaneous innovation response from government, non-governmental bodies. There is a need to build on this and create a robust and viable ecosystem and a formal mechanism in which the partnerships and collaborations of government and non-governmental research institutions, academia, and the startup ecosystem will thrive. Next. The findings show that professionals in the healthcare, education, and corporate service industries, such as management consultancy, etc., are the most confident among the future of their companies. These industries are confident about their companies, the long-term outlook, especially 4 out of 5 healthcare professionals, 4 out of 5 corporate service professionals, and more than half of all education professions in India think their companies will do better in the next 2 years. Next slide, please. Skilling and reskilling will be vital. The need for a highly skilled workforce to rebuild businesses, take advantage of the growth opportunities, streamline the supply chains, and the build efficiencies is significant. The abilities like proficiencies in tackling supply chains in the manufacturing sector, the team building, and the leadership skills to deal with the crisis will gain a lot of attention. Articulating on how increasing the number of employees in manufacturing will mean a large section of the employable workforce needs to be specifically skilled in former manufacturing processes and standard operating procedures of the SOPs. It means that existing pharma sector employees will need to show a broad range of skills and be flexible to the role or function that they are deployed, leading to more multi-skilled workers rather than the narrow single-skilled workers. Both these will result in an increase in the demand for short duration intensive skilling and training of the pharma workforce in manufacturing. When this crisis hopefully ends, the skilling graduates in pharma manufacturing will be the biggest need of the hour. In fact, to cater to this need, the institutions need to design, to train, and upskill the pharma manufacturing sector workforce. With the restriction in headcount at the workplace, emphasis will be to maintain the productivity. This will see massive and rapid adoption of automation. People should focus on upskilling and reskilling in an automation to maintain the productivity factor at the manufacturing plants. Next slide, please. There will be renewed demand for skilled professionals in other areas too. Companies will invest in high-level skilling to create more intellectual property rights. To have a competitive advantage, pharma and healthcare are expected to see unprecedented growth. So the R&D will be a key differentiator here in the pharma sector. We can expect traditional learning models being influenced by blending the digital learning mechanisms to maintain continuity in learning while keeping social distancing in mind. What are the lessons to learn for employees in the industry? The workforce has now become more distributed, thereby increasing the demand for them to adapt at not only the functional skills, but the skills of creativity, innovation, and complex problem solving, cognitive abilities, and the social skills. Therefore, they should focus on building the digital skills, learning new productivity and collaboration skills, which will be critical for the continued success of the pharma industry and the sustenance of the employees. The employers or the entrepreneurs, the lessons to learn is the companies will have to restore the confidence and the morale of the employees by ensuring the minimum wages, welfare and health safety. After the ordeal they have gone through, employees will have to give a psychological comfort. Next. A surge in demand for pharma workforce. The pullback in economic activity due to the COVID pandemic will slow the pace of hiring in the immediate future. This is a known fact. This is a known fact that we do not hide this because, the the slump in the growth and therefore the employment. Hope so in the healthcare sector and the pharma sector. It will be, it's slow now, but I hope so definitely in a scenario where the rising of the industry is there. So the pullback in economic activity due to COVID-19 will slow the pace of hiring in the immediate future. But looking further out, the crisis is likely to reshape the recruiting landscape as employers and the governments respond to problems and redefine how and where the work gets done. As far as the pharma sector is concerned, a definite long-term change will be an increase in the demand for factory workers globally as companies lessen their dependence on China. This is an important policy which the government of India has taken. Obviously, because of the present scenario, the international relations between India and China, reduce the dependence on China, increase the self-reliance, and what the government wants to be as an Atmanirbhar. India will have the unique advantage of already having a substantial pharma manufacturing of generics. And if it increases the capacity through immediate investment, it stands up to gain as possibly the biggest manufacturer and exporter of pharma generics and APIs in the world. But what are the challenges faced by the community pharmacists during pandemic? So as we dealt, the challenges which the employees and the employers faced in the pharma manufacturing sector and the R&D. Now we look into the issues of the community pharmacists, how they're facing the pandemic situation. Pharmacists' response towards COVID-19 include prevention, mitigation, treatment, and the role of pharmacy services, and ensuring the medicine safety, quality, and no shortages in the supply chain. The lockdowns are being observed all over the globe, and the national level pharmacy professionals have performed the frontline roles. Pharmacists work to provide home deliveries, as well as dealing with the increasing number of patients coming through to the pharmacies with other ailments. With the near global lockdown, there seems to be an even greater dependence on the pharmacists as the first point of contact to fulfill the public's healthcare needs. Pharmacies around the world are one of the few places that are kept open for public service even during the strictest lockdowns. The community pharmacists continue to play their role towards public uninterrupted for regular supplies of medicines, as well as supporting governments for disseminating information precautions. For regular supplies of medicines, as well as supporting governments for disseminating information precautions related to COVID-19 spread, including hand washing technique to availability of face masks and instructions for their proper use and disposal. Well, what are the challenges? The next slide, please. What are the challenges faced by regulators? I mean, regulators are also pharmacists in the regulatory arena. The central and the state government regulators faced a daunting task to ensure the product licenses are issued regularly, to monitor the supply and ensure there is no scarce of hand sanitizers, medical oxygen, ventilators, personal protection kits, and other essentials and life-saving drugs. Inspections have become risk-based inspections, not the routine facility inspections, but inspections has become more of risk-based and remote-based during the pandemic, and ensure that the manufacturing approvals for COVID-19 related in vitro diagnostics, new drug approvals, and vaccine development facilities for compliance for test licenses on the clinical batches. Enforcement of regulatory compliance by way of raids and seizures by the inspectorate staff as a frontline warriors during this pandemic against the hoarders and the unscrupulous elements of essential medicines, including the new drugs such as remdesivir injection, tocilizumab injection, etc. Approvals on accelerated regulatory mechanism and record time with compliance. Next, please. Well, then having all these things, the challenges which the pharmacies and allied professionals faced in the manufacturing sector, in the pharma manufacturing sector, in the R&D sector. The challenges faced by the pharmacists, the community pharmacists, the challenges faced by the regulators during this COVID pandemic, and what's the present scope. The job avenues, you know all very well, the pharmaceutical professionals, or we call with the pharmaceutical industry, the government departments, the universities, the teaching, the hospitals, investigation research institutes. The portrait of vast and growing pharmaceutical industry, the qualification, knowledge, and skill required for job in various departments is very important. Within the pharmaceutical industry, pharmacy professional might be involved in activities relating to discovery, drug discovery, development, action, safety formulation, production, quality control, quality assurance, packaging, storage, or marketing of drugs for clinical use. The profession of pharmacy, as you all know, is an integral part of the healthcare system. Pharmacy is well-organized practice can go a long way to ensure the quality healthcare of the patient. In the past, pharmacists were responsible for dispensing medication slowly. Slowly, the traditional role of pharmacists is expanding now, and the pharmacists are playing a role as a vital team member in the direct care of patients, especially the next generation pharmacists who are PharmDs. Pharmacists plays an important role in providing healthcare services by means of community pharmacies. Well, what are the job in an Indian scenario, as you all know, all pharmacy professionals, how the job opportunities are derived from the statutory provisions. One is the Indian Pharmacy Act 1948, wherein the diploma or the graduate pharmacist get registered through the State Pharmacy Council, either for employment in the community pharmacies or retails, or in the distribution channel, or in the government sector as a hospital pharmacist. The other statutory provision in the Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940 provides opportunities in regulatory field as drugs inspectors in the government. In the center or state, statutory provision stipulates that an approved manufacturing chemist or analytical chemist in pharmaceutical industry is required as a component of manufacturing licenses. A government analyst in a state or a central government laboratory, drug control laboratories of the central state governments for testing and analysis of the drugs which are collected from the market or from certain areas where there is where for seizures, etc. These are being tested and analyzed by the government analysts and the enforcement or the drug inspectors and the samples. Then stores and procurement offices in central and state government. The research laboratories of CSIR, ICMR, DRDO, and many other central government laboratories wherein postgraduate and doctorate in pharmacies are required. Of course, it's a multidisciplinary setup, not exclusive for pharmacy, but with the other fields, or biomedical engineering or biotechnology or microbiology in certain other areas also. The Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, scientists at various levels for pharmacy postgraduates and doctorates, the avenues are there. What are the recent regulations and policy matters? The emerging areas or post-marketing surveillance as I just want, okay, slide. Medical devices and in vitro diagnostic agents, manufacturing as per QMS, the quality management systems, compared to the good manufacturing practice of the GMP in case of pharmaceuticals, including documentation testing as per conformity standards meeting requirements as per pharmacopoeia or BIS standards or any other international standards where the scope has emerged due to implementation of the medical device rules. 2017. Medical device officers, wherein along with engineering, specified areas of engineering, pharmacy graduates and postgraduates are also taken into consideration for employment. The new avenues in medical devices. Medical devices, the next potential area wherein government has implemented the medical device rules 2017, which has paved the medical device industry to come up in a big way under Make in India program. Medical device covers largely in both therapeutic and diagnostic fields. As many as 5,000 different types of medical devices are available. This is one of the important areas wherein, apart from the routine formulation, manufacturing in pharma industry or the API industry, the most emergent area in the manufacturing sector is the medical devices under the Make in India program, where the government of India has insisted for Make in India under Make in India program, the medical devices manufacturing, and the medical device rules 2017 implemented in 2018 will facilitate in making the medical device industry one of the robust industry wherein there will be a lot of employment opportunities will be there, because primarily 80% of the medical devices today we are importing. So we need to be the government sort of being to be self-reliant, not dependent, especially in the countries like China and certain other countries. So medical device rules have come, which has facilitated in establishing medical device parks and medical device industries. Medical devices include orthopedic implants. Medical device includes orthopedic implants, syringes and needles, stents, drug-eluting stents, catheters, and etc. Next slide, please.
Sir, 1 second, sir.
Yeah.
Where I lost it, 1 second, sir.
Yes. Yes. It's okay. The medical device covers largely in both therapeutic and diagnostic fields. As many as 5,000 different type of medical devices are available in India under the category of medical devices. The medical devices are being classified into based on the risk factor class A and B, class C and D, and depending on that, whether it is a stent, whether it is a catheter, or whether it is a dental implant, etc. So the medical devices include orthopedic implants, dental implants, syringes and needles, stents, the drug-eluting stents, catheters, ear implants, pacemakers, and so on and so forth. Medical devices also includes the in vitro diagnostic agents for testing of HIV-1 and 2, HBsAg, HCV, the malarial diagnostic kits, the dengue diagnostic kits, chikungunya, and including the COVID-19 and many other infectious diseases, metabolic disorders, and the biomarkers for cancer detection. IVDs also include biochemical tests for diseases such as diabetes, cancer biomarkers, and other diseases and disorders. Recently, the government of India has initiated the medical device parks for development and manufacture under medium, micro, small, and medium scale enterprises in order to reduce the dependency of imports and the country's requirements for self-reliance. The bulk drug parks have been initiated under the MSME scheme for developing and supply of key starting materials and drug intermediates for synthesis of some important drugs and reduce the dependency on imports of API industry. Experienced candidates have opportunities compared to the fresh graduates and postgraduates who may be offered for better salaries. in the pharmaceutical industry experience rise to the top and even quit and then go to other organizations, as we all see, and depends on the skill and the demands on the situation. Many startups in pharma looking into the innovations, entrepreneurship is encouraged, especially in small setups such as diagnostics, the formulation developments, the analytical method developments, and the stability studies. The Department of Pharmaceuticals and the Ministry of Pharmaceuticals and Chemicals plans to design the future policies for the pharma sector, keeping in mind the vision of becoming a member of the Pharmaceutical Inspection Cooperation Scheme. This is a global regulatory agency, a conglomeration of global regulatory agencies, Pharmaceutical Inspection Cooperation Scheme, the PIC scheme. It has urged the industry to equip and design their formulation units to meet the global requirements, regulatory requirements for the compliance of the GMP standards, Schedule M. Encouraging MSME players to be a part of this vision. The DOP considered the financial assistance that the small and medium players need from the government and plan to come out with a cluster scheme. It's proposed to have 10 such clusters across the country, and for each, financial assistance of 20 crores and interest subvention 5% will be given. The Pharmaceutical Technology Upgradation Assistance Scheme, which is a subsidy plan on sanctioned loans of 2 crores, has been now increased to 10 crores. This will boost up the MSME players to adopt the machinery and electronic management systems required to help a Schedule M compliant attain the WHO compliance, which will be considered for the financial assistance under the Pharmaceutical Upgradation Scheme. A PICS membership reduces the duplication of inspections. This is the vision of the Government of India in the near future. Reduces the duplication of inspections, facilitates the industry in export, provides a huge market access among other benefits. Strengthening the drug regulatory system. We all know we have this National Drug Regulatory Authority, that is the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, and the State Drugs Control Administration in various states and union territories. The entry point in the CDSU, or the National Drug Regulatory Authority, is the drugs inspectors primarily for enforcement issues, and the assistant drug inspectors without experience primarily in the Central Drug Department, is for review of dossiers of the and applications. The drugs inspectors, based on qualification experience with a minimum of testing and manufacturing in the C7 drugs, that is biologicals and vaccines or the allied drugs, for at least 18 months, is the minimum mandatory requirement as an entry point for a drug inspector. Apart from that, the contractual technical staff is also there, the technical data associates based on the qualification. Various laboratories in the CDSCO, wherein the regular jobs are at the entry points of graduates, especially the laboratory assistants and senior laboratory assistants and the junior scientific assistants, with a qualification of graduate in pharmacy, the chemistry and microbiology. The regular jobs in the officer cadre with the junior and senior scientific officers having postgraduates or doctorates in pharmacy and chemistry, etc., as stipulated. Next, please. CDSO is the National Drug Regulatory Authority and has various divisions at its headquarters, New Delhi, at the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. It has main divisions, the biologicals or vaccine division, the new drug division, the fixed dose combinations, the subsequent new drugs, the medical devices, the bioequivalence bioavailability study divisions, approval centers, global clinical trials, medicine safety monitoring division, enforcement division, import of drugs, cosmetics, and international cell for coordinating and collaboration with various international drug regulatory agencies. We have our offices at the zonal and the regional level, and the zonal offices are in all the metro cities of the 6 metros, the subzonal offices in another 7 cities, and port offices, that is the airport and seaport, where the offices coordinate with the customs, the DGFT, etc., and in the clearances of imports and export of drugs. in the 13 port offices in the airports and seaports, which are notified under the customs under the Chapter 3 of the Drugs and Cosmetics Act for clearances of import of drugs. We have testing labs under CDSCO. Appellate labs for testing drugs, that is at Calcutta, vaccines at CRI Kasauli, at CTL Kasauli, the medical devices at CGTL Mumbai, drugs and pharmaceuticals at Hyderabad, drugs and pharmaceuticals and condoms testing at Chennai, and we have regional drug testing laboratories at Chandigarh under the CDSCO, which not only caters the services of CDSCO, but also the states where they do not have their own laboratories. Similarly, we have a laboratory at Guwahati on the northeast. Presently, the strength of CDSCO is more than 500 pharmacy graduates and postgraduates, and even a few doctorates at various levels, working at CDSCO headquarters, zonal offices, sub-zonal offices, and port offices, and its allied and assisting laboratories. CDSCO is one of the largest organization government set up where qualified pharmacists are employees in the officer category. We have a more than 500, and another 400 to 500 are in the pipeline at various stages in the government. The strength of drugs control officers in the state is, in the states and union territories, is more than 1,100 officers, including the testing laboratories. Further augmenting the strength of drug regulatory system, we require more number of drug inspectors for approvals or enforcement activities. Further augmenting the testing capacity of drugs and infrastructure in laboratories of the states and center. A capacity building project under the central government scheme to assist the center and state drug departments, 1,750 crores were earmarked for development of their drug control officers in the laboratories, and which have some of them already utilizing these funds. Next, please. Well, during pandemic, there are various regulatory provisions where the CDSCO along with the state is working hard to ensure the mandate of the regulatory system in the country under the provisions of Drugs and Cosmetics Act. However, I just want to focus things which are of the activities of CDSCO under the National Regulatory Authority of CDSCO, wherein during the COVID period, how the regulatory decisions are taken out on a fast track mechanism. The new drugs, the repurposed drugs, remdesivir injection and favipiravir tablets, itolizumab injection, tocilizumab injection for emergency use authorization by DCGI. Approvals of COVID testing, IVD kits, RT-PCR, RT-PCR based, 153 kits have different manufacturers have been approved in the country in the last 5 months. And IVD kits of rapid ELISA, CLISA, etc. of 110 have already been approved by the DCGI till date. The vaccines are various under development in different stages of clinical trial approvals. Approval of clinical trials in COVID pandemic is more than 110 clinical trials have been approved in the last 4 months. A record of sorts in facilitating the clinical trial processes and approvals. Monitoring and ensuring essential drug availability. Developing regulatory pathways for accelerated approval of drugs. Developing the guidelines for COVID-related vaccine development and clinical trials and approval processes. Continuous efforts by CDSCO to ensure safe, efficacious, and quality medicines, devices, and cosmetics available with a vision for public health. Next, please. I just missed an important slide that is on the clinical trials clinical trial research, wherein there is a new drugs and clinical trials, wherein the pharmacovigilance program. One important side, there is a new drugs and clinical trial.
Which slide, sir? Do you have a number on that, or you want me to go and check
Must
it?
be, it is there, probably it is missed. Anyhow, I'm just covering it. The emerging areas is the post-marketing surveillance as the new drugs and clinical trial rules 2019, the pharmacovigilance program of India, the adverse drug reaction monitoring centers, and the clinical research data in clinical trial setup by clinical research organizations and data safety and monitoring boards and periodic safety update reports for regulatory compliance under the scheme of the new drugs and clinical trial rules 2019. So this is how the entire gamut of the regulatory system is working at this during this pandemic. Many approvals were happened during for COVID pandemic to ensure the essential supply of drugs, essential drugs, life-saving essential drugs, ICU drugs, repurposed drugs for the COVID purpose. Even the PPE kits, which we do not have 5 months back, and now today we have reached a situation where even we have adequate ventilators, we have adequate PPE kits, and even the hand sanitizers at one point of time we don't have in the month of March. Today we have adequate hand sanitizers. And we have other things which the regulatory regime is now, regulatory division, the CDSCO is working hard along with the states to ensure there is adequate access, supply of essential medicines, life-saving drugs, ICU drugs, including the accelerated pathways, developing guidelines for the vaccine development, the clinical trial processes, which is ongoing. In almost a month, around 30 to 40 clinical trial approval processes happens in CDSCO on an accelerated pace in order to ensure to deal with the COVID pandemic, as this has become a one important factor globally. Either US FDA or UK MHRA or Indian CDSCO, everyone is moving towards how to overcome this COVID pandemic situation. When do we get the vaccine? So these are all the questions which the common man questions it. But we need to know the intricacies of the rules and regulations or the regulatory regime, how strict to ensure the patient safety. Patient safety is far more important. Safety in when you go through the clinical trial phase, the development of a candidate vaccine, either the conventional means or the recombinant or a vector-based or a clone-based or mRNA or a DNA-based vaccine or whatever you call it as. It needs to go through the animal phase, animal clinical and animal screening, animal toxicity studies, the pharmacodynamics and the pharmacokinetics, the immunological responses in animals, the tox studies, then moving into the dose regimen in the phase 1, the dose range studies and the maximum tolerable dose studies. And then you move into, based on the safety data, the regulatory pathway is next phase is moving into the ensuring the safety and efficacy points. And finally, the safety issues. And finally, the safety issues. And lastly, the final safety and efficacy in the phase 3. So this is how is the vaccine pathways are going on. The new drugs are under pathways going on. This is how the mechanism is functioning in the regulatory pathways for clinical trial approvals and the new drug marketing authorization. Thank you very much. Now, the forum is may question me, may clarify things which the regulator, I will share my views. What is the exact position in the present COVID pandemic situation?
So there are some questions. I'll go through them.
Yes, please.
So the only one question, sir, but everybody was thanking and saying that it's a wonderful session and very informative session. They're thinking when the vaccine going to come into the market. Are there any time limit? Or there are different stages of every vaccine. So that is
Yes.
the only question everybody was asking, but everybody was thanking you, sir, and saying that very informative and interesting session. Sir, go ahead, sir.
Yes. As you all know, vaccine nationalism has started. We should move, as we all pharmacists, we all know what is research, what is development, how a vaccine will develop, what are the vaccine candidates, did we characterize a virus, whether the virus is virulent, whether the virus is mutant, what is the characterization? We are understanding the virus at different levels in different countries by different scientific research laboratories. Number one. Number two, we have the potential of India is luckily being, we have a vaccine manufacturing facilities, we have a great infrastructure, we can be a world leader in this pandemic situation. Coming to the vaccine issue, there are more than 130 vaccine candidates are there, out of which 30 to 40 have successfully cleared through the animal screening, and coming into more than 10 to 15 candidates, vaccine candidates have come into the clinical trial phase, the phase 1 phase. Now coming into the Indian scenario, you know very well, which you can see even in our website in the public domain. There are vaccines which are in the testing category, test licenses have taken in the development stage or in animal screening by certain organizations. I do not want to name them. There are certain organizations, there are certain companies, vaccine companies. You know very well it is in the public domain. One is manufacturing the vaccine, COVID vaccine, only exclusive in the conventional method, the conventional method of inactivated COVID vaccine. This is one. The second one is the what's called as the Oxford vaccine. This is the vector-based vaccine. The third one is the DNA-based vaccine. Among all these vaccines, we are at different stages. Some of them are at the third phase 3 trial, as you know very well. One of the institutes, Serum Institute of India, Pune, is at the phase 3, wherein phase 1 and 2 is been through clearly in other countries and brought this technology, and it is in process of phase 3, phase 2/3, you can say, in India by Serum Institute. Secondly, there are other institutes which are the phase 2 stage, which got a good results of one of the organizations, which is Hyderabad-based industry. The third one is Ahmedabad-based industry, is also in the phase 2 stage. We hope, probably as WHO has said, the experts of WHO has said that probably the first quarter of the next year, or if at all delays, the second quarter of the next year, definitely we will be in a position to get a vaccine. How far that vaccine works is a different issue, but definitely the vaccine will come into the working process, and probably by year 2021, hope, let's all pray God that we will be free from COVID world, and we would come to a near normal position, normal situation. And we are facing in a situation where everyone can understand. Everyone is maintaining a social distance, not virtual. We are having virtual meetings and not really unable to meet together. But at times we are connecting through virtual meetings. The motivating factor which these virtual meetings, especially the student community and the faculty, in fact, everybody, whether educated or uneducated, employed or unemployed, working or not working, everybody gets depressed, especially during the lockdown. So slowly the lockdown is easing. But definitely we hope that probably the first quarter, definitely the first quarter or the end of the first quarter of the next year, probably we will have a vaccine. And the vaccine for throughout the country, probably year end. But the vaccine preferences, the scheme of vaccine supply is also being developed by Government of India. Preferences will be given to those vulnerable groups. The first preference to the COVID warriors, the frontline warriors, the age group vulnerable, and then come into the normal mass immunization. Let's hope that the vaccine will come maybe in the first quarter of next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That is really a wonderful session, and about the challenges and how the regulators are taking care and how the CDSCO is working. And Purushottam, Dr. Purushottam, do you have any questions at your end?
No, madam. No,
Madam
madam.
Ramesh,
I have
Ramesh,
one question.
Yeah, Ramesh, go ahead.
Dear Dr. Prasad sir,
Yes, sir.
as we all know that US is going to lead us in forefront by discovering the vaccine, which is already told by Trump that in November Pfizer vaccine is going to come and they are going to distribute. So how far is that in process? First question. Second question, in India, to far of my knowledge, Bharat Biotech and Cadila is in forefronts and the Serum Institute. So when are we expecting, or which is going to emerge first? Thank you.
Well, which is going to come first is something which a political person can answer more than a scientific person. As you said, because you started with Mr. Trump.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Trump is more enthusiast, more than a scientist who really understands that. You know, Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, WHO chief scientist, has told, with emphatically, she told that probably the first quarter of next year would be the most likely, we can say most likely outcome. Now, the issue of whether Pfizer is coming or whether AstraZeneca is coming or whether our Bharat Biotech is coming or Zydus is coming, let's practically think. You will know why we should not predict as a regulator. You are all scientists, you are all teaching, you know, understand how a DNA vaccine works, you know how a vector vaccine works. And do we have vaccines in this world which are really DNA vaccines or vector-based vaccines which are present in the basket of vaccines? So a lot of intricacies are there, a lot of things are there to understand, but definitely I cannot comment which vaccine will emerge first, but definitely a vaccine of indigenous made in India will definitely be successful, not only in the country, we would be able to supply to as much as possible to the globe. We have massive vaccine manufacturing industry, one at Pune and one at Hyderabad and one at Ahmedabad. Probably we'll be able to cater the needs of the whole population of this country. Even we can supply to the global level. That's what the WHO expects India to be, a global partner in all this manufacturing and supply.
Thank you, sir. And one more question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is what are the epidemiological studies done for the distribution of vaccine? Because as you told already that the frontline workers will be getting it, and
Yes.
the marketing and distribution is the next biggest task once
Yes.
the drug is discovered.
Yes.
So what will be the starting point to the end point? You said just 1 quarter. And of course, it takes a lot of time. 3 months is a big thing because we don't know when Corona will kiss us and go off. So what will be the time for us between the starting till the common man reaches this vaccine?
So that's what I told. It is, we always say it is most likely. Coming the more fruitful data, we got it now. Up to phase 1, the data was very, very clear of indigenous vaccine manufactured, very safe, very positive and prospective results have come in the phase 1 studies. Because, you know, it is, the study needs to be studied in an extended. The important thing, as you all scientists and professors, you can understand, safety is far more important than the efficacy. efficacy, even if it is a 50%, it could work for you. It's good.
Yeah.
Safety must be 100%. No one should suffer from any of these things. It should not turn into a virulent this thing. It should not lead to certain serious adverse events. It should not lead to deaths, or it should not lead to any other serious adverse events or untoward incidents. So primarily, I'll tell you, the epidemiological data is being studied. The sero survey has been done. The first sero survey has been done. The second survey has been done by the ICMR, and data is being generated. It's more unpredictable. It's rising, it's falling. All these issues are there. So, but definitely we are studying closely. The regulator, along with the ICMR is a nodal body in this entire COVID pandemic handling, and DCJ office is in tandem in coordinating with the ICMR and the Ministry of Health in dealing with this pandemic. I hope so, definitely it will come, definitely. But which one will come? Because the race is towards treating and overcoming the pandemic. Not the race should not be between the vaccine manufacturers or pharma manufacturers. We are racing against a time to deal with the pandemic, to deal with this thing. In 1918, there is a Spanish flu. 100 years back, almost 100 years back, that situation is exactly coming. But today we have science, we had geared up. So we are substantially handling this issue. I hope definitely, we will definitely overcome. So which vaccine will come is not the point, but definitely whether we can have a vaccine, we will have a vaccine which is 100% safe. Then comes to the efficacy, whatever the immunological response is there, and how far we best get treated with this COVID vaccine. Thank you.
Sir, one more last question, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, with this, can I know the status of the Russian vaccine? Because it is already proved this is what they claim. And what can be the outcome of that, sir?
I have no idea about the Russian vaccine, and I cannot comment on that because I have little knowledge on that issue. As you read newspapers and media, I also read newspapers and media. So I have no much idea of the Russian vaccine, Sputnik 5 or something. I have no comment on this.
Sir, there is a question from the student.
Yes.
Is the COVID-19 impact on the fresher's job? Is it a positive or negative impact?
Well, overall, I can tell you at this juncture, we should not hide from the reality. Yeah. It is definitely coming to not substantially negative. To a certain extent, it is negative because the new job creations take a little more time because there is a slump in the growth in the manufacturing industry, which the graduates or postgraduate is expecting.
Yeah.
But definitely we hope that, our pockets are getting, the salaries are getting down. That's a different issue. We accept it. There is no escaping from reality, but definitely there is a growth. Whatever the jobs are there now, presently, it will only come for the pharma industry, not any other manufacturing industry. But definitely there is hope. Let's hope for the best and not the worst. But presently, definitely it is questionable, but it is slowing. The recruitment process is slowing because the industry is also facing a little slow. But definitely, probably in a year or two, which I had presented, that within a year or two, probably there will be boost of growth in the pharma industry, and moreover, the industry relies more on exports and more revenue, then there will be more opportunities. So that's how we think that definitely let's hope for the best. That's how it is.
Thank you, sir. Krishnamon sir, you want to give any comments, sir? Krishnamon sir? Looks like sir is not there. But thank you, sir. Thank you. Very informative, and it's actually it is needed during this time. And thank you connecting us and giving a webinar. Ramesh, you want to give any thank you note? Sir Krishnamon sir is there. Sir?
Okay, Dr. Balaji, you have given elaborate to talk today, and we have given some inputs about the vaccine also. Thank you for sparing your valuable time, and we will be in touch with you. And as an alumni and as a pharmacy fraternity, Your services will be useful to the society also. And I thank, especially congratulate Madam for organizing a good webinar in a short duration. And it seems that more than 1,200 students and scholars and faculty have attended. And with these remarks, I once again thank Dr. Balaji for sparing your valuable time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
And
you.
thank you all. And we have another webinar on Monday. It is an Ankram Labs on HPTLC and applications, and they are going to give the live demo. And I'll send the flyer to everyone. Please join us. Thank you, Dr. PBN Prasad, sir. Thank you very much joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you, Purushottam. Thank you,
Thank you,
Ramesh.
thank you.
Thank you, Nanavati. Thank you, Rajeshwar Dutt, and all other participants. Thank you. Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.